Serena Williams, born on September 26, 1981, in Saginaw, Michigan, would go on to become one of the greatest athletes in the history of sports, but her story began in very humble surroundings. The youngest of 5 sisters, Serena grew up in a close-knit family led by her father Richard Williams and mother Oracene Price. Early in life, Serena was immersed in a household filled with love, discipline, and ambition. Her father, who had no professional tennis background, became the architect of her and her sister Venus's tennis careers. Inspired after watching Virginia Ruzici play on television, Richard developed a bold plan: he would train his daughters to become champions of the sport. That vision set into motion a journey that would change not only Serena's life but the landscape of tennis itself. Serena spent much of her childhood in Compton, California, a city known more for its struggles with poverty and crime than for producing world-class athletes. Yet it was here, on cracked public courts surrounded by tough realities, that Serena and Venus honed their skills under the watchful eyes of Richard and Oracene. Training sessions were grueling. Richard emphasized discipline, resilience, and belief in oneself as much as forehands and backhands. He was protective of his daughters, keeping them away from junior tournaments for much of their childhood so they would not burn out or be exposed too early to the pressures of the professional circuit. Many criticized his methods, but Richard held firm to his vision, convinced that his daughters would revolutionize women's tennis. From an early age, Serena showed remarkable determination. While Venus, older by 15 months, was often seen as the more naturally gifted, Serena exhibited an intense drive and fighting spirit that became her trademark. She was strong, fast, and powerful, qualities that, combined with relentless practice, made her stand out even as a child. The Williams sisters practiced for hours every day, often in harsh conditions, learning not only the technical skills of the game but also the mental toughness that would carry them through the challenges ahead. Their father instilled in them a belief that they were destined for greatness, and Serena, even as a little girl, carried that conviction within her. By the early 1990s, it became clear that the Williams sisters were prodigies. The family eventually moved to Florida to enroll Serena and Venus at the tennis academy of Rick Matchey, a renowned coach who helped polish their raw talent. At Matchey's academy, Serena's game began to flourish. Her serve, explosive power, and aggressive playing style made her stand out among her peers. While many predicted Venus would rise first, and indeed she did, Serena quietly sharpened her game, waiting for her moment. Serena's professional debut came in 1995, at just 14 years old. Like any young athlete entering a world dominated by older, more experienced players, her first steps were not without. After her triumphant comeback at the 2007 Australian Open, Serena Williams once again reminded the world that she was not to be counted out. That victory not only re-established her as a dominant player but also set the tone for a new phase of her career. She was no longer just a prodigy or rising star, she was a seasoned champion, seasoned by experience, setbacks, and comebacks. The next decade of her life would showcase not only her athletic brilliance but also her resilience, her ability to reinvent herself, and her determination to become the greatest of all time. The years following her 2007 comeback were marked by both triumph and struggle. Serena captured more Grand Slam titles and continued to dominate on the world stage, but injuries remained a constant challenge. Her knees, ankles, and other parts of her body often suffered from the intensity of her playing style. Yet, despite the physical toll, Serena repeatedly found a way to return to the top. In 2008, she partnered with her sister Venus to win Olympic gold in doubles at the Beijing Games, adding another chapter to the sisters' legendary careers. Serena also captured the U.S. Open singles title in 2008, defeating Jelena Jankovic in the final and reclaiming the #1 ranking in the world. The early 2010s brought new rivals into Serena's orbit. Players like Victoria Azarenka, Caroline Wozniacki, and Petra Kvitova were rising stars eager to challenge her supremacy. But it was Serena's fierce rivalry with Maria Sharapova that captured the public's imagination. Though Sharapova defeated Serena in the 2004 Wimbledon final, Serena went on to dominate their head-to-head record, winning the vast majority of their encounters. Their rivalry became emblematic of Serena's ability to rise in big moments, as she consistently outpowered and outplayed Sharapova in crucial matches, including multiple Grand Slam finals. In 2010, Serena's momentum was disrupted by a freak accident. While celebrating Wimbledon in a restaurant in Germany, she stepped on glass and severely cut her foot. The injury required multiple surgeries, and complications from blood clots in her lungs nearly ended her career, and even her life. Serena was sidelined for almost a year, leading many to question whether she would ever return to her peak form. The health scare was a sobering moment for her and her fans, highlighting that even champions are not invincible. Yet, true to her nature, Serena refused to let this setback define her. Her comeback in 2011 and 2012 was nothing short of spectacular. After months of rehabilitation, Serena returned to the tour determined to reclaim her place at the top. In 2012, she won Wimbledon, defeating Agnieszka Radwanska in the final. That summer, she achieved one of the crowning moments of her career, winning the Olympic gold medal in singles at the London Games. She became only the second woman in history to achieve a career Golden Slam, having won all 4 Grand Slam titles and Olympic. As Serena Williams entered the final chapter of her career, her story became less about chasing records and more about the legacy she was building both on and off the court. After more than 2 decades of dominance, her every appearance carried historical weight, each match feeling like a celebration of everything she had given to the sport. Yet even in her late 30s and early 40s, Serena remained a formidable competitor, capable of challenging the very best and igniting crowds with the same intensity that defined her rise from Compton's public courts to the grand stages of Wimbledon, Flushing Meadows, Paris, and Melbourne. From 2020 onward, Serena continued to push for that elusive 24th Grand Slam title, which would equal Margaret Court's all-time record. Each Grand Slam tournament became a global event, with millions tuning in to see whether Serena could achieve what many thought was destiny. At the 2020 Australian Open, she fought valiantly before falling to Wang Chong in the 3rd round, reminding the world that age and injuries were becoming significant factors in her performance. Still, she refused to walk away. Her determination was not merely about personal glory but about showing resilience, about teaching her daughter and the world that giving up was never an option. The COVID-19 pandemic disrupted the tennis world in 2020, but Serena returned to competition when the tour resumed. At the 2020 US Open, she reached the semi-finals, once again displaying her trademark power and grit. Although she fell short against Victoria Azarenka, her run proved that even as the sport was being dominated by a younger generation, players like Naomi Osaka, Ashley Barty, and Bianca Andreescu, Serena remained a force who demanded respect. Her battles with this new wave of champions symbolized the passing of the torch, yet Serena never allowed herself to be seen merely as a relic of the past. She continued to fight as if she still had something to prove. In 2021, Serena's performance at Wimbledon was cut short in heartbreaking fashion. In her first-round match, she slipped on the grass and suffered a hamstring injury that forced her to withdraw in tears. It was a devastating moment for both her and her fans, many of whom feared they had witnessed her last appearance at the tournament where she had lifted the trophy 7 times. The image of Serena limping off center court was a stark reminder that even legends are not immune to the cruel realities of time and physical wear. Yet, as always, she refused to let that moment define her. She took time to recover, signaling that she was not ready to say goodbye just yet. Off the court, Serena continued to expand her influence. She had already established herself as a successful entrepreneur, fashion designer, and investor. Through Serena Ventures, her venture capital firm, she supported numerous startups, particularly those led by women and people of color. Her commitment to empowering others extended